Hello everyone, and welcome to another Zwift Racing League race recon video. So I'm going to be doing a recon video every week, and it'll release before each Zwift Racing League race, so you guys can all get the inside information about the next race and prepare for this upcoming race. This year, Zwift Racing League is starting with a bang. So first up, we've got Watopia Climbers Gambit. So this week we are going to be racing one lap of Climbers Gambit. That's going to be 28 kilometers, 17.4 miles, 640 meters of elevation gain. That's around 1,800 climbing for those of you who use the Imperial system. But power-ups will be 34% leaf, 33% truck boost, 33% aero boost. The most important power-up in this race is going to be the featherweight and the aero boost for those who are going for the shorter segments earlier on in the race, because there are some segments other than the climbing segment. So there will be the JWB Sprint Reverse, Epic KOM Reverse, Titans Grove Climb. And the thing about the Titans Grove Climb is it actually kind of favors the riders with a strong 1 minute power, so a lot of the sprinters are going to be doing very well on that segment. Same with the JWB Sprint Reverse, but on the Epic Climb Reverse is when most of those riders will be dropping, because that's when the climbers are really going to get the chance to shine. So for the climbers, the featherweight power-up is going to be the most useful, but for those who are going for the sprint segment or even the Titans Grove KOM, the aero boost is going to be the best power-up. So for FAL and FTS segments, there will be FAL and FTS segments for every single one of the segments. So versus some of the different routes, there's FAL on some segments, FTS on others. It kind of varies from race to race. But that's pretty much it for the details about this race. Let's get into the actual video recon. The Scott Addict RC with some good all-arounder wheels like the NV 7.8s. So you can see that right here. It's going to be either that, or if you're going for an all-climbing setup, it's going to be the DT Swiss wheels. And for those who want a really good all-arounder, it's going to be the Tron. Canyon Aero is also always a good option. So those are the 3 bike choices that I would choose for this course. Watopia lap banner, but traditionally people normally go forward through it, but this we're going to be going in the reverse direction up here, and you're going to be going up this little climb. Don't expect any attacks here. This is kind of when riders will finally start to settle in, so you won't be seeing any attacks here at this point in the race. But after this, you are going to hit the S's, and after you hit the S's, it's going to take you to the sprint, where you have your first sprint opportunity, and that's going to have FAL and FTS segments. So that'll be the opportunity for sprinters to get their points in, and that's kind of that and the Titans Grove KOM are the 2 segments that kind of suit sprinters more than climbers. So that is where we could see some of the climbers get dropped, and sprinters could also use it as an opportunity to purposely drop the climbers to have a better shot at the finishing stretch. But you on the sprint, you are going to want to start your sprint a little bit early and kind of use the other riders as a lead out, and once you get close to the bottom of the sprint, just start sprinting. Try to hit your max power, go all out, because that's going to be crucial in getting a really fast sprint time. For that segment, the best power-up is going to be the aero boost, especially with that descent, and you will actually have a power-up once you hit that segment, because you do go through the banner first before hitting this sprint. So going up these S's here, not many attacks will be happening here. Mostly riders will be sitting in, prepping for that sprint, and just really getting ready to try to save as much energy as they can and prepare for the sprint segment. So you can see here that at the moment I'm equipped with the Scott foil setup, and that's going to be a awesome climbing setup. This is going to be for riders who are just going for that climb, trying to get all the points they can and try to go for that win on the climb. Climbers could definitely catch the sprinters if they go fast enough on the climb and they are behind, but I don't think the climbers will be getting dropped on this course, because this course does this course, the sprint is not long enough to actually separate the group that much. It will cause some separation, but most riders will catch back on because of how short the sprint is. But right here, if you head into camera view 1, you're going to go up this part. So where we could see some long attacks to really get those sprint points. Those could be sacrificial sprinters where they kind of just go for it on the sprint and really just go as hard as they can to get the points, and then after that they kind of just blow up and fly off the back of the group because they won't really be needed anymore, because the rest of the race kind of like comes down to the climbers, and the climbers are going to be the ones who are going to be carrying the team on this course. So right here, you're going to hit that short descent, and I'm going to tell you guys exactly where I would start my sprint. This isn't the same for everyone, but for most people, I'd highly recommend, if you have an aero boost or if you have a draft boost, I would turn it on right about at this little shadow you see here on the corner. But right here is where I turn on my drafting boost. But if I had an aero boost, I would wait until right about here, and then this is when I just start sprinting. You get a little bit of downhill momentum, and you just fly right by all the riders who are currently in the front. You'll make your way to the front of the group. It might be a competition between 2 or 3 other riders who are really just on the front of the group, hammering and pushing the pace. But you don't want to be off the front too early on, because there could be some riders coming from farther back who are just really using the slingshot technique. So you'll go through that sprint banner, you'll get another power up, and if you don't have a power up you like, I'd recommend using it even if you aren't a sprinter, just to really save that energy for the Titans Grove KOM. From here, it is pretty mellow, and not much actually happens until you hit that Titans Grove KOM. So let's head over to there, and I'll discuss more tactics once we get to the Titans Grove KOM. Be going at a considerably fast speed, so you don't want to lose the group on these rollers, because if you do, the chance of catching back up are pretty slim, and you'll have to really put in that effort, and you're likely to get dropped on the KOM if you do get dropped early on and have to use a lot of energy to chase back to the group. So I'd recommend staying close to the middle or the front of the group and really just try to draft and use as little energy as possible, while at the same time trying not to drift too far back, because if you do drift too far back, it likely will not end well. Let's head over to the KOM, because that's where most of the tactics will be needed, and that is also probably where the biggest split of the race will be happening, other than the KOM, of course. But I wouldn't call that a split. That's kind of just the finishing stretch, and everyone's kind of just going their own ways, going their own speeds, and the climb is what really shows riders' strengths and weaknesses, because this route, it shows sprinters can show off their sprinting skills on that short 10-second sprint. The kind of attackers can show their 1 to 2 minute power on this Titans Grove KOM, and the riders with a strong 15-minute to 20-minute power will be showing their power on this epic KOM reverse. A short descent that riders will be taking, so be cautious here, because you don't want to get separated before the KOM, because it'll be complete chaos once the KOM does start. You go through a short roller, and right when you go down, you'll go through one more roller, and that next hill that you go up is going to be the start of the KOM. So you're going to see the marker in just a moment, maybe like 5 seconds from here, and then that marks the start of the KOM. I would expect riders to start to surge, maybe 2 or 3 watts per kilo higher than the typical watts per kilo for that category. So like category B riders will start out doing like 7 or 8 watts per kilo, and they'll probably ramp up to 9 or 10 once they get to the top of the KOM. The race will get very strung out at this point, and something that is reassuring to those who get dropped on this climb, it's very likely that they will catch back up on the descent, because I've raced this course many times, or courses similar to this actually, and almost every time the chase group does catch back up, because they are pushing around 4 watts per kilo, whereas the front group is only doing around 1 or 2, and they're just chilling down the descent because they've already put in a massive effort to get over the top of the climb. For most riders, this segment will not take that long. So A riders, I would say maybe like a minute 15, a minute 20. B riders, a minute 30, a minute 40 to a minute 45. C, 1 minute 50 to 2 minutes, and D is going to be around 2 minutes and 20 to 2 minutes and 45. So it actually really depends on the field size, what kind of riders are in the race. So those are not the most accurate numbers, but they are a good estimation to go by if you are looking to gauge your effort. So right here is kind of what marks the point that tells you you're getting pretty close to the top, where you see the gravel trail come out. That is the end of the mountain bike trail. That's where it leaves you after you finish the mountain bike trail. But once you get up this part, you're going to make a turn, and then you'll be very close to the finish from there. So something that's kind of hard for riders to see on this climb is the markers for the end, because they are just two little trees on the side, so you won't be able to see it that clearly when you are racing. And because you don't have that like time HUD for segments that you would normally have on free rides, it could be a bit hard to find out where the actual segment ends. So I'm going to show you all once we get there in maybe around 15 seconds. I'm going at a pretty chill speed right now, and I'm not really trying too hard. I'm kind of just chilling up this climb, so it's going to take a bit to get to the top here. So if you look over there, there are two trees, two actually kind of stacks of rocks. I have a little thing pointing on the screen right now, and you can see there's also a line across the road. That's where the segment does end. That's where the points are really going to count. And right here is when riders tend to ease off. And this is when the chase will really begin for those who are off the back and looking to catch back up. The next major part of the race is the Epic KOM. So I'm going to head over to that, to the Epic KOM right now. So stay tuned and enjoy. With the top of the Epic KOM, we're nearing the top of the segment. This is when I suspect that there'll be, unless there's an extremely strong climber, there's probably going to be 2 or 3 riders left in a small little group. They're going to be playing, they're going to still be pushing the pace at this point. There will be some riders 15-20 seconds behind, the rest probably around a minute behind. And at this point, riders are probably going to still be pushing around 4 to 5 watts per kilo if they're in like category B. A riders will be preparing for a sprint, but most riders probably don't have much left for a sprint, so it's going to be a pretty small sprint. So think about the category that you're in, and then maybe one category lower. That'll be the sprint that you could expect to see from riders. So if you are one of those 3, that's what you should be expecting from the other riders. And riders will likely turn their power-ups on right here if they have a feather power-up and try to go long, but if they have an arrow or something like that, they'll probably wait until they get to the flatter portion, which you're going to see in just around 5 seconds. Right when you get over this little bit, you're going to see that there is a flat portion of this course. It's actually kind of a descent, and this is when you'll see riders start to use their power-ups if they have power-ups. And right here you can see that the banner is in sight, and you're not going to go to the bonus climb. You're going to go to this banner, and that's where you're going to be finishing the route. So right here is when riders turn their arrow boosts on, and they'll be starting their sprint right here, and this will really determine who takes that win and who takes those segment points. Note that if riders do come from behind, they could actually do a faster time, so they could get those FAL FTS segment points. They could get a better time than the riders who were in the top 3 finishing. So right here you'll finish, and after that you can enjoy a nice descent, but there are some hills here and there. But that is pretty much it for this course. It's a decently straightforward course actually, but it is a very hard course to race, and it's going to be very tough on riders. So good luck to everyone racing. I hope you enjoyed this video. Check back next week for the next race recon, and I will have that up in about a week, and it'll definitely be a week or 2 in advance of the race, so that people do have time to watch it and really get to know the course. Thanks for watching everyone, and ride on.